The film begins with a narration explaining that, after the end of the Ice Age, a mysterious machine arrived from space. Its only objective was to transform humans into mutants. After many years of war, a warrior named Neekdane emerged and united the surviving tribes. Together, they managed to defeat the threat and sealed the machine deep within the earth. In the mountains of Western Europe, the descendants of Neekdane became responsible for guarding this secret. Centuries later, the world came to be controlled by four great corporations. Mishima dominated the East. Bauhaus and Imperial controlled Europe and Africa, while Capital governed the West. With the planet's resources nearly exhausted, these factions waged an endless war. Meanwhile, in the muddy lands of Europe, Bauhaus prepares to attack Capital's positions. What they do not know is that, beneath the battlefield, rests the terrible machine imprisoned for thousands of years. In the midst of the war between corporations, we meet Major Hunter. During the conflict, he collects the identification tags of fallen comrades. While the fighting continues intensely, the ancient seal of the machine ends up being destroyed. Soon after, several mutant creatures emerge from underground and begin a massacre. Upon finding numerous bodies scattered through the trench, Hunter is disturbed by the brutality of the deaths. Searching for survivors, he moves through the fog. At that moment, an enemy soldier appears behind him. The two engage in a fight, and Hunter accuses him of the murders. However, the man claims he does not know what he is talking about. Shortly after, Captain Rooker arrives with other soldiers and captures the enemy. But the situation changes when the mutants appear again and attack the group. As the massacre continues, military aircraft arrive to rescue the survivors. Hunter and some soldiers manage to escape. Rooker stays behind, facing the creatures to ensure his comrades escape. Sometime later, news of the massacre reaches the temple of Neekdane's descendants. Upon learning of what happened, Brother Samuel gathers the members of the council. During the meeting, Constantine defends evacuating the remaining colonies. Samuel is outraged by the proposal and argues that millions of people would still be abandoned. Furthermore, he believes fleeing will not solve the problem, since the mutants would continue pursuing humanity. Convinced there is still a way out, Samuel demands that the chronicles be fulfilled. For this, he requests a ship and 20 soldiers. Constantine does not understand how so few men could succeed where entire armies have failed. Samuel then reveals that his objective is to reach the machine and destroy it. According to him, a larger force would only attract the enemy's attention. In the end, he begs them to trust his plan and give a chance to those who will be left behind. While they try to decide what to do, the threat advances faster than expected. The mutants reach the capital and begin their attack, killing thousands. As the city is about to fall, Samuel meets Constantine for the last time. He reveals that he will stay behind, believing he will have no place in the new world. Upon learning that Samuel intends to return to his brothers, Constantine reminds him that the city is surrounded and that this will be difficult. Before saying goodbye, he hands him passes to the other world and asks Samuel to gather men there to fulfill his plan. At that moment, a soldier reports that the last barriers have been destroyed. Without wasting time, Constantine decides to stay and orders them to take Samuel in his place. Then the two say farewell. After Samuel's departure, several mutants invade the area while Constantine remains facing his fate. Later, Hunter mourns the loss of his comrades in a bar when Samuel approaches him. He explains that he intends to destroy the machine and states that this may be humanity's last hope. Even so, Hunter refuses to join the mission. Already expecting that answer, Samuel tries to change his mind. He hands over the evacuation passes and reminds him that some people still depend on him. After the religious man leaves, Hunter looks at the tickets and remembers the promise he made to Rooker to protect his family. Meanwhile, Adelaide and Grace receive the evacuation passes and celebrate the chance to finally leave that place. With the mission defined, Samuel begins gathering the men who will accompany him. Among the first selected are Jesus and Lieutenant McGuire. Soon after, he introduces Valerie, an experienced combatant who has accumulated dozens of kills during the war. The team also receives Kim Woo-juba and Maximilian von Steiner, a highly respected officer admired by Samuel. While presenting Nickdane's teachings to the soldiers, Samuel receives the arrival of Major Hunter. Then he asks one of the brothers to explain the mission details. The religious man reveals that the team will use a network of tunnels beneath the ruins of the imperial city to reach the machine. During the explanation, he shows an ancient artifact removed from it before it was sealed. Although they do not know exactly what the object is, the chronicles indicate that it belongs at the center of the machine. When Maguire expresses concern about the device, the brother explains that a necessary piece to activate it is missing. Jesus suggests throwing the artifact into the hole, but the idea is dismissed, since the machine has endured for thousands of years. Finally, Samuel reveals that they will need to recover the activation mechanism and place the device inside the machine itself. Still doubtful about the mission, Maguire comments that reaching the machine is only part of the problem, since the group will have to cross territory filled with mutants. To address the concern, Maximilian leads everyone to a dark room and reveals that the corporation managed to capture one of the creatures. The sight of the monster frightens the soldiers, who immediately open fire. Even so, Maximilian clarifies that ordinary projectiles are rarely enough to stop them. According to studies conducted, the mutants continue moving even after suffering wounds that would kill any human being. Interested in the information, Valerie asks what is the most effective way to kill them. Maximilian explains that the secret is to destroy large portions of the body, preferably with heavy weapon bursts or explosives. While the explanation takes place, the mutant manages to escape containment and launches an attack. Before the situation spirals out of control, Severian, Samuel's apprentice, quickly appears and finishes the creature using her blades. Upon examining the creature more closely, Hunter has the impression that there is still something human inside that monster. Shortly afterward, the team receives special blades to fight the mutants and departs on the mission. During the flight, they observe several aircraft transporting civilians away from the danger zone. As the team members talk and get to know each other better, Hunter introduces himself to Captain Michaels. At that moment, a civilian ship begins approaching dangerously. Michaels attempts contact and orders the aircraft to change course, but it continues advancing. Faced with the threat, Michaels orders a soldier to shoot it down. The man hesitates because he believes there are civilians on board, but eventually obeys. Upon observing the cockpit more closely, Michaels notices something terrifying. The pilot is not human, but a mutant. The order to open fire is given immediately, but the creature disappears from sight. For a few seconds, everything falls silent. Then the mutant suddenly appears and strikes the aircraft, causing a major accident. With the ship out of control, Samuel orders everyone into the escape pod. After managing to escape, another problem arises when the parachute fails to open. Hunter volunteers to release it manually, even knowing it may cost his life. However, before he can act, Michaels reappears alive and takes on the task to save the rest of the group. The pod's descent quickly spirals out of control. Amid the panic, the first parachute deploys but tears apart. When the idea of using the reserve arises, Kim Woo-juba warns that it would also be destroyed. Even with Maguire's protests, the group decides to wait. After hitting a building during the descent, the pod nears the ground. Only at that moment is the reserve parachute opened, allowing the survivors to reach the ground. The collision, however, leaves Maguire mortally wounded. Realizing there is no salvation, Samuel says a prayer while Hunter stays by his side. Accepting his fate, the soldier asks for a grenade and says goodbye to his companions. Soon after, the rest of the team analyzes the path ahead and begins the journey toward the Great Hole. Moving cautiously through the city's ruins, the team soon encounters civilians trying to escape the region. Unnoticed by anyone, a mutant watches them from a distance, hidden among the rubble. Hunter decides to observe the situation more closely and discovers that some soldiers are charging money in exchange for seats on an evacuation aircraft. While the others move forward without interfering, he is outraged by what he sees. Refusing to accept that injustice, Hunter approaches and demands that at least the women and children be taken. The man in charge reacts arrogantly and threatens the major with a weapon. The response is immediate, with Hunter drawing his gun and killing the man. With the other soldier paralyzed by shock, Hunter allows the refugees to board. After returning to the group, Hunter is reprimanded by Maximilian, who accuses him of putting the entire mission at risk. The major ignores the criticism and the team continues advancing. When night falls, they finally reach the old cathedral. Inside the church, Valerie is startled when she encounters a statue of a mutant. Soon after, the group proceeds to the catacombs leading to the lost city. Observing the enormous number of skulls scattered around, Valerie asks how many times the mutants have already been released. Samuel corrects her and states that those dead were not victims of mutants, but of humans themselves. During the crossing, a sudden noise puts everyone on alert. While investigating the source of the sound, Samuel finds an ancient mural and concludes that the path continues to deeper levels. Shortly afterward, they reach the shaft of an abandoned elevator and decide to use ropes to descend. Before descending, Hunter suggests that someone remain at the top to prevent them from being followed. Kim Woo-juba volunteers for the task. After receiving instructions from Hunter, he begins descending alongside the major. Midway down, the two realize the rope is running out far sooner than expected. Samuel consults the chronicles and remarks that the place should have about 60 floors. Suspicious, Samuel lights a flare and discovers that the bottom of the shaft is much closer than it should be. While he tries to understand the situation by consulting the book, Hunter notices someone descending right behind them and becomes concerned. While Kim Woo-juba remains on the surface guarding the entrance, the rest of the team continues descending. At the same time, Samuel searches the chronicles for answers to understand why the place does not match the book's descriptions. During the search, he accidentally triggers a lever and nearly falls into the void. Hunter manages to hold him for a moment, but the chain cannot bear the weight and breaks. Fortunately, Samuel does not fall all the way down and lands on a platform of the ancient tunnels. Relieved, he lights a flare to orient himself. However, the light reveals the presence of a mutant hidden in the shadows. With nowhere to run, Samuel tries to defend himself while Hunter descends to help him. Even firing several times, the major realizes the shots are not enough to stop the creature. With no alternative, the two run to a nearby passage and enter a dead-end tunnel. Shortly afterward, the rest of the team arrives and confronts the mutant. Taking advantage of an opening, Hunter uses the flame of a lantern to set the creature on fire and then decapitates it. At that same moment, Severian prevents an accident by catching the grenade thrown by Maximilian and tossing it away. As they advance through the tunnels, Kim Juba hears movement and soon identifies a group of mutants approaching. He immediately opens fire, but quickly runs out of ammunition. The other soldiers also engage in combat, but the number of creatures is too great, forcing the group to retreat. Pursued by the mutants, they try to find an escape route, but the pressure of the attack only intensifies. To try to contain the horde, Kim Juba makes an extreme decision and shoots the elevator cable, causing the structure to collapse. During the fall, one of the mutants falls with him into the elevator and engages in direct combat. During the fight inside the elevator, Kim Juba manages to eliminate the mutant before impact. Even so, he emerges gravely wounded. Shortly afterward, the elevator hits the ground and causes a massive explosion that eliminates much of the enemy. Even so, some mutants survive. Hunter orders everyone to prepare again for combat. At that moment, Kim Juba activates a grenade he was carrying and throws it at the survivors, finally destroying the creatures. Despite the brief relief, the group soon realizes a new problem. The tunnel has no exit. Brother Samuel consults the chronicles and discovers that the mutants use the tunnels to transport bodies to the machine. Elsewhere in the group, Jesus interrupts the conversation between Samuel and Hunter and asks for help. Samuel tries to calm him and pours water on the ground, which reveals a small hidden opening. Upon investigating, they find a secret passage. The team follows this new path and ends up catching mutants carrying bodies through the tunnels. Among the victims, Hunter recognizes Rooker still alive, being taken toward the machine. Ignoring the group's warnings, he decides to go alone to save him, even under threat from Maximilian. Unable to stop him, the rest of the group moves on. Along the way, Rooker struggles to survive as a mutant attempts to attack him. Seeing the danger, Hunter acts quickly and drops a sharp stone onto the creature, saving his friend at the last moment. Rooker recognizes that Hunter came to save him and asks about his family. The Major carries him and states that he managed to send them to Mars in exchange for a deal to save humanity. Meanwhile, the rest of the group advances through narrow structures, unaware that beneath them lies a massive concentration of mutants. During the escape, Rooker worsens and asks Hunter to continue the mission without him. Realizing his friend will not survive, Hunter decides to kill him and proceeds alone. Elsewhere, Maximilian loses his balance and falls among the mutants. He tries to defend himself as the others watch, but the situation quickly becomes critical. Even with orders to continue, Valerie refuses to abandon him and jumps down to help, followed by Jesus, Hunter, Samuel, and his apprentice. In the middle of the fight, Jesus' weapon malfunctions and explodes, hitting himself and Maximilian, while the creatures seize the chaos to advance. During the battle, the group collapses under the mutant assault. Samuel is killed. Maximilian and Valerie are overwhelmed and dragged by the creatures toward the machine. Hunter gathers parts of Samuel's chronicles and decides to continue the mission, stating that the machine must be destroyed, with or without the book. Severian questions what to do, but he maintains the decision to move forward. Hunter and Severian reach the interior of the machine and begin placing the explosives. During their advance, they find Maximilian and Valerie being dragged by mutants and manage to rescue them after eliminating some creatures. With the group reunited, they reach the machine's core and begin the final stage of the mission. With the device ready to be used, Hunter and Maximilian handle the ropes, while Severian and Valerie descend to install the bomb. However, mutants soon appear and advance in great numbers. Realizing the danger, Maximilian moves away from his companions and sacrifices himself with a grenade to prevent the horde from approaching. The explosion eliminates several enemies but also throws Hunter into the machine, while the girls manage to reach the platform safely. Hunter becomes trapped inside the machine and begins to be transformed into a mutant. He fights against the process and frees himself before the transformation is complete. Meanwhile, Severian and Valerie reach the center of the machine and find Hunter in critical condition. Valerie asks if he is still human, but he asks them to give him the bomb. Even weakened, he positions the explosive in the core of the structure. The creatures attack in great numbers, forcing the group to fight while the bomb is installed. Hunter tries to find the detonator but cannot locate it. Pressured by the attack, he asks for the pages of the chronicles to try to discover the activation. In the middle of the chaos, Severian faces Samuel, who reappears fully transformed into a mutant. Valerie is also attacked and ends up killed during the confrontation. Severian tries to bring Samuel back to consciousness, but he kills her. Furious, Hunter confronts the monster and is initially overpowered. However, the mutant misses an attack, and Hunter manages to knock him down. He then regains control of the fight and defeats him. Then Hunter finds a paper with symbols that make him remember, in a flashback, how to activate the bomb. He uses that knowledge to activate the device and eliminates Samuel in the process. With the activation complete, Hunter jumps from the collapsing structure and falls into the water as the machine begins to destabilize. Shortly afterward, it is launched into space. In the end, Hunter lights a cigarette, observing the victory.